Welcome to Movies with MacLean, and welcome to the Danger Zone. I'm Andrew MacLean, and this is the weekly podcast where we talk all things movies, including the latest in movie news. With me today is Grant Hoffman. Grant, how are you?
Good. Glad to be back.
Yep, I'm glad to have you here. Today, of course, we're discussing Tom Cruise movies. The Mummy is in theaters right now, so we're going to talk about our favorites of Tom Cruise. But before we do that, as always, we are going to discuss the movie news. So we have a few big stories this week. We have, first story, new trailer for the upcoming film Detroit. So Detroit is directed by Catherine Bigelow, comes out comes out in August, and it's about the Detroit riots from 1967. So what did you think about this new trailer for Detroit?
I thought it looked a lot more interesting, and I think it gave a little bit more about the plot, but I don't really know what the emphasis is going to be, because it's got everything from, like, the riots to, like, the court scene and, like, a focus on John Boyega, but I have no clue exactly what it's going to be mostly about. But I think it looks pretty good. The acting looks like it's well done, so I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know if I'll see it, like, in theaters when it comes out immediately, but I'll definitely see it.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer just got me even more excited for this movie. I think Catherine Bigelow is one of the best directors working. Obviously, she made Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, and those are really great true story movies. And Hurt Locker, I know, had a lot of controversy about the way the characters were portrayed, and this movie obviously is surrounded by a lot of controversy, so I think that she's the right director to tackle this subject material. And I think it's great to see John Boyega get this, like, starring role. I think he can really show his acting chops in this
What
in
about
this movie.
The Circle?
I don't know about The Circle. I didn't see that one, but I'm sure he was great. And then also Will Poulter. He's like sort of the menacing bad cop, it seems like, and he definitely showed his acting chops in The Revenant. So I'm excited to see him in this again. What I'll say is, as long as it doesn't, like, go too one-sided with how it shows these events, then I think it could be a really good movie, because obviously in those riots there were bad people on both sides, you know, with the police force and the community. There's a lot of people who were killed, so as long as it's not, like, too one-sided, then I think it could be really good.
I agree. I think they just need to portray it, like, in an equal way, and I think it should be a good movie for sure, because Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, both great movies.
Our next piece of news is that the Venom movie starring Tom Hardy and that Venom character are actually going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this was confirmed by Kevin Feige, head of Marvel Studios, and Amy Pascal, who's a big head at Sony. So it's still produced by Sony, but the character can cross over, and characters can cross over between Marvel movies and this Venom Sony universe. So what do you think this means for, like, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Do you think we could see Venom in, like, Infinity War, for example? Or
when's the Venom movie supposed to come out? Like,
I'll check on that. It's either next year or 2019.
And Infinity Wars comes out early
next year.
2018?
It's like May or June of 2018.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it means. That certainly opens it up for more crossovers, for kind of like just like an even bigger expansion of the universe, which sounds promising, as long as, nothing turns out like Spider-Man 3 or the Fantastic Four, as long as nothing goes to that. But I think with Marvel and Sony collaborating more, it's just probably going to lead to better movies. I don't know how I'm going to feel about a Venom anti-hero movie. I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea
to
have him start as a villain.
And change. Yeah, like, I don't think he should just immediately be portrayed as a hero, maybe in, like, the second one. Who knows? I think they'll do a good job with it. Tom Hardy's definitely going to do a good job with it, because he's Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it sounds promising for the future, especially with Marvel's, it's in Phase 3 officially, right?
Yeah,
I don't know the timeline for all those movies, but I mean, obviously they haven't released anything after Phase 3. They have not.
They have not. Except, well, I think they announced like Guardians 3, but that's the only, and it doesn't have a release date or anything.
Yeah, so exactly. So I think that'll probably open up to like the Fantastic Four or like more Spider-Man, like being involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe more than Spider-Man already is, but obviously other villains and characters.
Mm-hmm. And I did see that it's coming out October of 2018 is Venom's planned release date. And I think that the timing of this announcement sort of lines up with the release of Spider-Man Homecoming, which is in a couple of weeks, so we could see maybe a Venom tease in like a post-credit scene, because they do those like right before the movies come out sometimes.
That would be
with some of these post-credit scenes. So yeah, we could see a Venom tease. And I think it's just good to know that we will be able to have Venom in a Spider-Man movie. And these aren't going to be completely separate, so I'm happy with this news. And then we had some bad news, and I'm about to be grumpy about Star Wars, because we have the Han Solo directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, have left the project, and there's about 3 weeks left in filming, so most of the movie is already filmed, and it's set for a May release date next year, but what Lucasfilm is saying and what Lord and Miller are saying is that they didn't have the same vision for this movie, and that's why they've left the project. Now, I don't know why it took them this long to figure out they didn't have the same vision for the movie, but this does not look good for the future of the Han Solo movie. What are your thoughts on this departure?
My first question is, what have the two directors directed before this?
21 and 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Huh. That's like an odd rap sheet.
They're good. They're good.
I don't
fun
think
directors.
I didn't. I don't know, because I really don't know how much of the movie they filmed, like, or how much they were planning to do in the next 3 weeks. But then they're still editing and all that. Not good.
Especially the timing, like in the middle of filming.
Like I would understand, like if the beginning of filming, like there's usually like sometimes, I would say for definitely a small percentage of movies, the director leaves because they don't get along with the studio or they don't get along with the actors, whoever's on it. I mean, that happened for Deadpool 2, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I still think that Deadpool 2 is gonna be a good movie. But this late in it, there's no way it could make the movie any better or help out in any way. It's only going to damage it.
Well, and they might have to reshoot a lot of this if Lucasfilm isn't happy with what they've done with it. And honestly, like, I'm on the side of Lucasfilm here, because Lawrence Kasdan is writing this movie, and if you don't know Lawrence Kasdan, he wrote Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and The Force Awakens. So he knows Han Solo better than anybody, and he knows how to write Han Solo. So I want his vision for the movie, and if these directors aren't gonna be on board with that, then maybe they're not the right guys for it. But I don't know why it took Lucasfilm and them to figure that out this long. But if they're gonna reshoot a lot of it, then the movie could get pushed back. You know, it's set for May release date next year, and I'd be okay if it gets pushed back to December of next year. But, you know, I just hope they can
whatever
figure
gives us
out
the best movie, I think, is going to be the best course of action. But
yeah. And I was never really on board with the idea of a Han Solo movie anyways, because if you want a Han Solo movie, you can watch the Star Wars original trilogy or The Force Awakens, because he's pretty much one of the main characters. So I don't know why this was the next anthology they went to, but, you know, like you said, we just want the best movie. If it gets pushed back, it gets pushed back, but right now, this is not good news for the future of the Han Solo movie.
Not at all.
Alright, it's time to move into our discussion of Tom Cruise movies. Grant, did you see The Mummy at all?
I haven't seen The Mummy yet. From what I've heard, I'm not missing out on a whole lot.
Yeah, I saw it and I liked it, but it's not a good movie. I mean, it's a fun summer blockbuster, but there's a lot of issues. I would not give it a fresh score, and I understand why it's getting panned, but
not Tom Cruise's fault, right? Though,
no, he's really good. Yeah,
I've heard. I mean, he usually is, but
and he's really good in a lot of bad movies. too.
Yeah.
But he always gives his A game. So we're going to start with the movie that sort of made him a star and made his career take off, no pun intended. We're talking about Top Gun. So, Grant, what are your thoughts on Top Gun? What is your reaction to this movie?
I mean, it is like the typical summer blockbuster, but I mean, it's definitely flawed. It's not a perfect movie at all.
No.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm just trying to refresh my memory of like what it's just. I remember watching it, and it was just okay to me. Like, I didn't ever think it was something special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's definitely just not a standout action movie. It's just kind of meh for me. I wasn't ever a big fan of it.
I think it's the kind of movie that you put in when you're like hanging out with the guys. Like, it's just it's a movie that's better if you watch with a bunch of guys.
Yeah, you don't watch Top Gun alone. I mean, I would like to make the argument that I would probably say, well, do you know the dates? Which came out first, Risky Business or...
Risky Business was first.
Okay, that was probably the one that, like, launched his career the most, but, like, it definitely, like, made him, like, A-list when he was in Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun, not my favorite Tom Cruise movie. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of, like, memorable scenes in there, and, I mean, the music is great. Put it into overdrive, drive. But, you know, like you said, it's a little, it's maybe a little overrated. I think, you know, talking about doing a Top Gun 2 now, that could be interesting, but probably not very good.
I don't think anybody asked for a Top Gun 2.
I think Michael Bay's maybe the right guy for a Top Gun 2.
Well, I mean, like,
just
that's
like a ridiculous
money-wise, but actually good movie-wise, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, there are some good moments in there, and I think Val Kilmer's really good too. There's a few like emotional scenes, but as far as action movie goes, like you said, it's not the best. But you know what is some of the best action movies we've had recently? Let's talk about the Mission Impossible franchise.
Ooh.
So we're just going to talk about the franchise as a whole. Which of these 5 movies really stands out the most to you?
Definitely the last 2.
Yeah.
I think they've just gotten better as Tom Cruise has just like gotten just much better in the role. Like I did, to be honest, like the ones where like people were disguising themselves as other people, like they were masked and stuff. I was like, like I'll go along with it. It was a good movie, but like they're definitely not as cool and as good. Like it doesn't have as many good characters as they do in these past 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really like, who's the guy from Shaun of the Dead?
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
Simon Pegg's a terrific
his
actor.
role has really like increased in the last 2 movies.
Yeah, he's been great in the last 2 movies, and Tom Cruise has been terrific in the past 2 movies. I like
Jeremy Renner's in there.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Jeremy Renner's character is also very good, and I mean the plots have been very good too. The effects, like this, like they've just been like very good action movies that I mean they're still in demand, and Tom Cruise is still killing the role. So I really hope they keep making them and keep going because they're really good movies. I enjoy watching them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the 4th one's probably my favorite.
Ghost Protocol?
Yeah, I just think that like the plot was like the most thrilling in that one. Like you felt like they actually might not like pull off or like you thought the villain might actually have a chance against him in that one. And then I think that like the Dubai scene was like the most memorable stunt of any of them when he's on the side of the building.
Yeah. Well, that and when he was hooked to the plane in the most recent one.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But
and then,
the Dubai one was also probably definitely better.
Yeah, and I think like you said, like the team is more a part of it now instead of just Ethan Hunt, and that makes it better because the first one is good. The second one I actually haven't seen. I've heard is the worst. And then the third one was good too. I did like the villain in that, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I thought was good.
Yeah.
And I remember the scene in that one a lot where he's like in the bathroom as like he has the mask of Philip Seymour Hoffman in there.
Yeah.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman is also in the bathroom and he like sees him and gets all freaked out because it's like he's looking at himself, but it's really like I think Tom Cruise in the mask. They did a little too much of that.
Yeah, I think they took the wrong turn with that being like an actual thing they could do. Even though they did try to bring him back in Ghost Protocol, but
it was in the end of the most recent one too, in Rogue Nation with Alec Baldwin. I think he was in the mask or
was it like setting it up for the next movie or something like that?
No, it was like at the end when they.
Well, yeah, I just remember Ghost Protocol when they were making like the face thing and it didn't work, so they had to actually go with the really good scene where you had to climb up on the side of the building and everything. That was awesome.
Yeah, and the last one too had the really cool like underwater scene.
Yeah. Where he had to hold his breath.
Yeah, for like 3 minutes. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many like creative action sequences in all these movies, and it's so fresh. Like every time, every movie has had a different director, and they've all felt like new and original, but still like we love them for the same reasons.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could keep making these movies, and I'll keep seeing them because they're just thrilling every time. Did you want to keep talking on Mission Impossible, or we want to move on?
We can move on.
All right. Next one is an ensemble, or a movie featuring an ensemble that includes Tom Cruise, and that is A Few Good Men. So I haven't seen this one, so you're gonna have to carry the ship here. What are your thoughts on
A Few Good Men is definitely a very good movie. I think that all of the actors turn in good roles, with Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore also very good.
Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon. I mean, this movie is definitely, I don't know if I appreciated it as much when I first watched it. I remember like thinking it was gonna be like a Tom Cruise like really good action movie, but it really wasn't that. It was more of a thriller and a drama. But like I rewatched it a couple days ago when you told me we were gonna be reviewing it, and I really liked it. I thought the acting was terrific. There's always like the classic you can't handle the truth line. But overall, just like a very well made movie, and the actors really carried it. I think Tom Cruise definitely did a great job in his role, as well as Jack Nicholson. I think those are probably my two favorite. And overall, just like a really fun, like not fun movie to watch. Like it's entertaining. Like you're always entertained when you're watching it. Like I was hooked from like the first 15 minutes to the end of the movie, and I really liked it.
Well, it's a lot of like courthouse drama, right?
Yeah. But,
so I mean, in a movie like that, like you need good performances to keep you watching, because that can.
The plot's got to be interesting, and the actors can't be boring.
I see that it's written by Aaron Sorkin, so I'm sure it's well written too. I definitely need to check that out. It's one of these that I haven't seen, but you make it sound like I should definitely see it. Is there anything else you need to add about that one?
No.
All right, let's move on to Jack Reacher. Now, I know that you're a big fan of Jack Reacher. You tried to get me to watch it with you actually one time, and I wasn't a fan.
You couldn't.
It just felt like a cheaper Mission Impossible movie to me, where Tom Cruise was still great, but everything else around him was not.
No, I did like the first one. Second one, I'll give you, was not good at all. I didn't like it. But
Are you never going back to see that one?
Yeah, probably. No, I liked the first Jack Reacher. I didn't think that Tom Cruise turned in a good role. I think the villain, the sniper guy, was definitely good. I just found that like the opening was very interesting, and it just kind of like kept me hooked for the rest of the time. Apparently you did not like that, I guess. But I really liked it. I thought it was like, as more of it was like, well, I didn't think it was like Mission Impossible in the way that it was like more of a detective kind of thing. Like it wasn't like you didn't know who the bad guy was. Like everything wasn't laid out. He didn't have a bunch of gadgets. I kind of liked. I understand his similarities with Tom Cruise putting the team on his back and really doing all the work, which he used to do in the Mission Impossible movies. Now we talked about how the team has more of a role now, but it is a lot of Tom Cruise being a badass. I'll give you that, but I definitely liked it. I don't think it's as good as the Mission Impossibles, and then maybe a little bit of a knockoff, but it's definitely an enjoyable movie.
I thought Jack Reacher was a gay porno, where guys, jerk each other off.
No, it's a book.
Oh, okay. Well, the next Tom Cruise movie is also an action movie. Surprise. It's Minority Report. So, this is Steven Spielberg directed Minority Report. It's a sci-fi movie based on source material from Philip K. Dick, who wrote like those short stories that were turned into like Blade Runner and Total Recall. So as far as Spielberg movies go, it's good, but it's not like top 10 Spielberg movies. And Tom Cruise is really good in it. It's basically the premise is like there's like a precognitive murder like team that he works for, so they like stop murders before they happen. And so it really gets into a lot of the like the questions of science fiction, like is it justified to put people away before they commit a murder? And then it also just has a lot of other really cool sci-fi elements. Like there's a really great scene where where Tom Cruise is walking through a mall, and there's all these like hollow ads that are like talking to him. So it plays with like your digital footprint, sort of, where his name is John Anderton, and so he'll be walking by and all these ads will be like, "Hey John Anderton, do you like your new watch? Would you be interested in this product?" And it's kind of creepy because it's like today you'll be like ordering a pizza on your phone, and then you'll be on like Amazon, and there'll be an ad for that local pizza place on the side of the screen. Like they know what you've purchased, so it just really like got even deeper into that. And it's got some good action sequences. I will say the budget, you can tell, is it doesn't look great. There's some pretty obvious CG, but it came out in 2002, so it's a little understandable. And it's a good story too. Colin Farrell's really good, and there's like I don't want to ruin it, but you don't really know where the story's going, and so it is very compelling the whole time to see like how the different characters play out, and like the premise is that Tom Cruise works for this agency,
but then he sees
himself kill someone, so you don't. So it's like leading up to that moment, because it says like this is gonna happen in like 5 days, so you see like how he gets to that point of like where he thinks he might murder someone, and it gets a little goofy at times, but other than that, I really enjoyed it, so I definitely recommend it. Good action movie and good like sci-fi elements too. So the next movie is Jerry Maguire. Grant?
And you haven't seen this movie?
I haven't seen it either.
That's kind of surprising. It's a little bit of a classic. But Jerry Maguire, good movie. It's about how like Tom Cruise like finds himself because he kind of realizes that he hates himself because of the way he is as a sports agent. And I mean, everybody has like the classic Cuba Gooding Jr. Show me the money, which is very good. But honestly, it's a really entertaining movie, and it was a nice change of pace for Tom Cruise, who does action movies almost 100% of the time. But this is like his like little percent that he actually did, and he performed very well on it. Turned in a good role. Cuba Gooding Jr., one of his only good roles of the few movies he's actually been in, but still a good movie.
Oh, Red Tails?
Oh yeah, Red Tails was so good. I remember that movie.
I think that's a movie.
Yeah, it's about the Tuskegee Airmen, maybe? I'm not sure. But yeah, Jerry Maguire is a classic movie, like something just kind of fun to watch, but also it's kind of deep and emotional at times, and a little bit of romance, but it's definitely a good movie. I always enjoy it whenever I see it.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise, like, he kind of plays a dick a lot, who, like, finds himself.
Yeah.
I think
man,
even like Edge of Tomorrow, he's sort of like
terrific role in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, but like even in Edge of Tomorrow, like he's sort of like reluctant at the beginning. I know, and I think he's good at that, like playing the asshole who then isn't an asshole by the end of the movie.
I agree.
And even when he is an asshole, he's still like kind of likable. I don't know if that's the case in Jerry Maguire. I haven't seen it, but.
He is. I mean, like, the time in which he's an asshole in the movie is not, like, that long of a time. I mean, like, there's some funny moments, too. But, yeah, he definitely does. It's a good role that he plays sometimes in his movies. I'll give you that.
Yep. Well, you know what they say, there's no cure for being a cunt. But I guess in Tom Cruise's case, there is. So the last Tom Cruise movie we're going to discuss is Collateral. Now, this is probably my favorite Tom Cruise movie. He plays the bad guy, which we don't see a lot, and I wish that we would see more of that, because he's so good as this hitman who basically kidnaps Jamie Foxx's cab driver character. He's the premise. Jamie Foxx picks him up in the cab and witnesses him kill someone. Sorry, my voice is going. And well, you want to take over for a minute?
Yeah, sure. It's about how he just kind of shows he kills people and then he decides that he's going to pay Jamie Foxx to drive him around when he goes and does like hits and like takes care of his business for the night. And I mean it's definitely just a fantastic movie. Tom Cruise, great. Jamie Foxx, one of his few pretty good acting roles, except for the only thing I've
He was
ever...
nominated for Best Supporting Actor that year, and for that movie, and he also won for Best Leading Actor that same year.
Yeah.
But he beat Leo, which I think is a crime, because it was for The Aviator, which I think is Leo's best role, but sorry, keep going.
Alright, yeah, and it's definitely a good movie. I love the pace of the movie, and I like to see how, like, Jamie Foxx's actor kind of changes throughout, like, he gets kind of bolder and bolder. But I remember watching this movie, and it was, like, a really unique movie, like, I haven't ever seen, like that good of an action movie with that little an amount of characters in it, if that makes sense. Like, it was really just Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise in the movie.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is the girl, but that's not really, like, her role's not really revealed, like, kind of until towards the end.
Yeah.
But, yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I have so many good things to say about Collateral. It has really good plants and payoffs, like where you'll see something in the movie and then it'll come back later, and it's like, it doesn't feel, like it feels like it makes sense why you saw that and why it comes back. And, you know, Jamie Foxx is good, but Tom Cruise is just so great as this hitman because he believes that he is fully justified in everything he does. He's a sociopath, basically, has no regard for human life. And to see the way he justifies that, and his dialogue with Jamie Foxx is great. It's a very well-written movie. The scene where they bring in Jamie Foxx's mom is so great, where like Tom Cruise and him both go visit his mom in the hospital, because like you know that Tom Cruise is just lying to her when like he says like that he's a friend, and just like you fear for her in that scene. But Tom Cruise is so great. And then like even when it's not suspenseful, there's like great shots of LA from like above, like as you see like the cab moving. It's just really well directed movie, I'd say. And then like good dialogue between him and Jada Pinkett Smith, because the first like 20 minutes or 15 minutes of the movie is just people talking in a cab, but it's still interesting. And then the last like 30 minutes of the movie just doesn't let up. Suspense all the way through, and you know that's where it finally changes setting from the cab where you've been most of the movie. But it's just incredibly suspenseful, and you're on the edge of your seat, eyes glued to the screen for the whole movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's our discussion of Tom Cruise movies. Let us know in the comments section what your favorite Tom Cruise movies are, and also let us know what you'd like to see us discuss in the future. We are probably coming to the end of this podcast. I unfortunately will, well, not unfortunately, but I won't have time for this in the fall. So we'll go through the summer, but for the last few episodes that we have here, we'll do some reviews, and then if you have any ideas, stuff that you'd like to see us discuss before we finish this off, let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us discuss that we have not done so far. So Grant, thank you very much for coming out today. It's always a pleasure to have you.
No problem. Love being on the show.
And thanks to everyone for watching. We'll be back next week.